General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade or GATT, signed in 1947 by 23 countries, is a treaty minimizing barriers to international trade by eliminating or reducing quotas, tariffs, and subsidies. It was intended to boost economic recovery after World War II. GATT was expanded and refined over the years, leading to the creation in 1995 of the World Trade Organization or WTO, which observed the organization created to implement GATT. By then, 125 nations were signatories to its agreements, which covered about 90% of global trade. The GATT was created to form rules to end or restrict the most costly and undesirable features of the pre-war protectionist period, namely quantitative trade barriers such as trade controls and quotas. So, what are the main objectives of GATT? The GATT is an international trade agreement whose objectives are to help rise standards of living, to achieve full employment, to develop the world's resources, to expand production and exchange of goods, and to promote economic development. We have the four basic principles of GATT, which includes: first is the most favored nation or MFN treatment, second is the reciprocity, third is the transparency, and fourth is the tariff bending and reduction. So let us go first to the MFN treatment. This is the fundamental principle of the GATT, and it is not a coincidence that it appears in Article 1 of the GATT in 1947. It states that each contracting party to the GATT is required to provide to all other contracting parties the same conditions of trade as the most favorable terms it extends to any one of them. Each contracting party is required to treat all contracting parties in the same way that it treats most favored nation. Second is the reciprocity. GATT advocates the principles of rights and obligations. Each contracting party has a right access to markets of other trading partners on MFN basis, but also an obligation to reciprocate with trade concessions of a MFN basis. In a way, this is closely associated with the MFN principle. Third is the transparency. Fundamental to a transparent system of trade is the need to harmonize the system of import protection so that barriers on trade can be reduced through the process of negotiations. The GATT, therefore, limited the use of quotas except in some specific sectors such as agriculture, and advocate import regimes that are based on tariff only. In addition, the GATT and now the WTO required many conditions, many notifications from contracting parties to their agricultural and trade policies so that this can be examined by other parties to ensure that they are GATT or WTO compatible. Lastly is the tariff bending and reduction. When GATT was established, tariffs were the main form of trade protection, and negotiations in early years focused primarily upon tariff bending and reduction. The text of the 1947 GATT lays out the obligations of contracting parties in this regard.